It's Nolan. Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show.
Records I give them, I got them, I flip them, I drop them, I use them to get on the stage. Serving the prodigy like a narcotic, I whip it up trying to get paid. Told y'all folks how to get like me. Put it in the book, y'all still won't read. Open up door, but I'm still low key. No video, still I'm on MTV. Goddamn, homie, just look at my credits. I get obsessed like a fetish. Don't need the image, I give them the flow and aesthetic. My pain do not come with no edits. Heard me on Netflix, heard me on Hulu, Amazon Prime, do a search like Blue's Clues. Money don't come in the game like it used to, so I go against that grind like couscous. Get in my zone, too many hits on my phone. Artists like send me a song. You making excuses, I'm making this right at my home. I think you should lower your tone. Don't come in my comments and tell like you know me. It's only so many, I'm calling my brody. Looking for favors and say I'm big homie until I say no to you, burn like a stogie. Yeah.
What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, and I'm one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Happy Sunday. Now, in this particular video, we're going to be getting into former Lil Wayne producer by the name of Deezle, also known as Darius Harrison as his real name, and he is suing UMG for unpaid royalties for his work on Lil Wayne's Carter 3 album. Now remember, Carter 3 is the absolute height, the biggest moment of Lil Wayne's career. People can debate about which album sounds better, which album is more of a classic, but Carter 3 is the absolute pinnacle of Lil Wayne's career. His producer Deezle produced, I believe, 6 tracks on this album, and he's been fighting with Cash Money, Young Money, and UMG ever since this album was released back in 2008. All right. His first lawsuit came out, I believe, in 2011 and was settled out of court, but for whatever reason, his royalties from this album have stopped. And again, he's been trying to get this worked out amicably with all parties for many years. It's been 17 years of this, and he has just filed a new lawsuit against UMG for money that he claims to be owed. All right. Now, y'all know this is what we do on the channel. We talk about music, we talk about the news, and we also get into some of the legal aspects of the music industry. Here, we're going to get into that. All right. Now, this is a 53-page lawsuit. So get you a snack, get you a beverage. If you ain't trying to move, get you a Uber Eats or a DoorDash on the way so you ain't got to get up and cook none, anything of that nature. Or if you got to get up, keep that bit playing in the car, okay? But we're going to go through this thing, man, because it's already notoriously known that Cash Money is bad at paying people. It's been something that surrounded them for many years. That's why Juvie left. That's why Manny Fresh left. That's why Lil Wayne ended up in the predicament that he did in the mid-2010s, having to sue Birdman to get money that he was owed over the entire tenure of his career, multiple millions of dollars. Multiple producers have had the same issues with these guys. Even their biggest protege, as in Drake, had issues with them, right? Because the people that he came into the industry with had him under a certain contract. He ended up getting the contract with Cash Money, Young Money, and they ended up having to divvy up the pie. We just talked about that weeks ago, how Drake's money, his royalty money, was sitting in escrow for nearly 18 years or some crazy shit. But anyway, let's get to this Deezle lawsuit. All right, so this is, it looks like a federal lawsuit. United States District Court, Southern District of New York, Drum Major Music Entertainment. All right, that's the company behind Mr. Darius. I think that's his company, his production company, against Universal Music Group, Inc. Now, I wish I would have spelled Universal correctly, but whatever. So Plaintiffs Drum Major Entertainment Inc. and Darius Harrison, collectively Drum Major or Plaintiff, by their attorneys Brown and Rosen LLC, as in for its complaint against defendant alleges as follows. Okay, so this is the jurisdiction. Federal jurisdiction is predicated on diversity of citizenship pursuant to 28 USC 1332. The amount in controversy, exclusive of interest and costs, exceeds the sum of $3 million. Okay, so he said he's owed over $3 million. Okay, personal jurisdiction is also proper in this district pursuant to paragraph 21 of a written agreement entered into between the parties dated as of December 12, 2007. The YME producer agreement, Young Money Entertainment, whereby the parties agreed to the exclusive jurisdiction of this court over this action. Okay, we don't got to go into the parties and their personal information and location, but these are the facts that they're presenting. Harrison is engaged in the business of, among other things, producing sound recordings for commercial exploitation by record companies. Drum Major owns the exclusive right to furnish the personal professional services of Harrison as a music producer. Dwayne Carter, professionally known as Lil Wayne, is a recording artist and performer. Upon information and belief, Carter conducts his business through and under the business name of Young Money Entertainment, LLC. Upon information and belief, YME acts as the exclusive company furnishing the professional services of Carter. So now they're going to take us back to 2007 when, I guess, the records were made for the Carter 3 that he produced on. Crazy going back this far in time. Plaintiff and YME entered into a written agreement dated as of December 12, 2007. Pursuant to the YME producer agreement, YME engaged plaintiff to furnish the producer services of Harris on a non-exclusive basis to produce or co-produce 6 master recordings embodying the performances of Carter with respect to the musical compositions entitled Whip It, Prostitute 2, and Action. Crazy thing is, I don't even know these motherfucking songs, these first 3. They say these 3 songs were Target exclusives for CDs sold at Target, which is exactly why I never knew. He also produced Mrs. Officer, which was a hit off of that album. Lollipop, a mega hit off the album. And Let the Beat Build, which is one of those fan favorites off the album. The way that he was rapping as in Wayne, and the beat continued to expand the further that he got into the song. That's how you let the beat build. Beat. Okay. These songs all appeared on the Carter 3. The plaintiff also produced Wheezy Baby that appeared on the Carter 2. Okay, so he had been around for a couple albums. Upon information and belief, the YME masters were distributed as singles and as part of Carter's albums. Upon information and belief, Cash Money Records was the exclusive distributor of all the YME masters pursuant to a recording agreement between Young Money and Cash Money dated November 1st, 1998. So Young Money was originally established in 98? Young Money Records taking over for the 99 and the 2000? But it wasn't really a thing until what, 2003? Damn. As consideration for the production services rendered under the YME producer agreement, Young Money Entertainment, among other things, agreed to pay plaintiffs specified royalties and other compensation. Pursuant to paragraph 6 of the YME producer agreement, Young Money agreed to provide plaintiff with no less than semi-annual accounting statements reflecting all royalties accrued under the terms of the YME producer agreement during the subject account period, accompanied by payment of all sums thereby shown to be due and owing to plaintiff. Paragraph 6 of the YME producer agreement requires Young Money to cause Cash Money to account to plaintiff directly, and at the same time it accounts to YME pursuant to a letter of direction annexed to the YME producer agreement and signed by CMR. CMR has signed its obligations to provide payments and royalty statements to UMG. Sounds like they pretty much did everything by the book as far as the paperwork is concerned, but the execution of it hasn't been handled, because you get that letter of direction to make sure that the producer gets their royalties. You know what I mean? Off the other ways of monetizing your music outside of just TV, film, and other shit, right? Anyway, paragraph 21 of the YME producer agreement specifically incorporates the letter of direction into the YME producer agreement. If y'all are familiar with the Escape financial issues, letter of direction and sound exchange was one of their big problems recently, a couple years ago. Pursuant to the letter of direction annexed to the YME producer agreement dated December 12, 2007, YME instructed CMR to make the royalty payments to plaintiff on its behalf. Plaintiffs were due a 4% royalty rate, and CMR instructed UMG to make the payments to plaintiff, okay? So he was supposed to just get 4%. And I'm guessing that would be off the album Carter 3, because ain't no way he was just getting 4% off of the songs he produced. So that has to be off the overall album. And again, this is a very successful album, so 4% may sound like bullshit, but that money would have added up nicely. Pursuant to the YME producer agreement, Harrison timely produced and delivered the YME masters. Digital singles of the YME masters were released in or about December 2005 and after, because of the song that was on Carter 2. Then they went into the Carter 3 for 2008. The Carter 3 was released in or about August 2008 and has been certified double platinum by the RIAA. I thought it was more than double platinum by now. The Carter 3 was hugely successful commercial album and was certified. No. Okay, hold on. Y'all got some errors in here. I think the Carter 2 is double platinum, which was released in 2005. The Carter 3 was a hugely successful commercial album and was certified 8 times platinum. Okay, y'all gonna have to fix some of this. The track Lollipop was certified quintuple platinum and won a Grammy Award for Rap Song of the Year. Lollipop spent 5 non-consecutive weeks atop the Billboard Hot 100 chart. It was ranked the number 7 hip-hop song of 2008 by MTV. It reached number 1 on 2008 issue of Notarized by BET and was number 5 on Rolling Stone's list of the top 100 songs of that year. Lollipop was also the single most downloaded ringtone of the 2000s, with upon information and belief in excess of 5 million downloads. This is the song that officially took Lil Wayne pop. The single Mrs. Officer has sold over 2 million downloads, which is nothing to scoff at. The album, and remember, this is when records was sold, pimping. Not streamed, but sold. Ringtone era. We talking about, man, there's a lot of money being made back then. The album, The Carter 3, sold over 7 million copies worldwide. The Carter 2 sold over 2.5 million copies worldwide. All the songs and albums continue to sell to date, and the violations of the rights of the plaintiff continue. The single downloads have produced over $8 million in income. That's just the songs that he was a part of. The album sales have produced over 78 million fucking dollars. Oh my God. 78 million. Total revenue exceeds 90 million associated with the Young Money Masters. And niggas be saying, ain't no money in music. Oh, it's money in music, pimpin'. It's not money for the artist. Not like that. It's money in owning the music, though. In a shocking, willful, and intentional breach of the YME producer agreement, Young Money failed to Harrison pursuant to the YME producer agreement, and UMG has breached the agreement by failing to report and pay royalties for over a decade. All right, so that was just the Young Money producer agreement. Now we got to get into his Cash Money producer agreement. Good God. See what happens when you sign to a nigga that signed to another nigga? Harrison and Cash Money Records, Inc., CMR, entered into a written agreement dated as of September 30th, 2004. Remember, this is before the Carter 2 came out. Pursuant to the CMR producer agreement, CMR engaged Harrison to furnish producer services on an exclusive basis. Oh my, no, not exclusive. That means he couldn't even fuck with nobody else. He had to just be a Cash Money producer. Pursuant to the CMR agreements, the plaintiff produced on the Fast Money album. I believe Fast Money is Birdman album. So there he produced 6 songs, which are the intro, Get It All Together, We Got That, Around the World, Out the Ghetto, and Shoveling Snow. All songs were performed by Birdman. Okay. Plaintiff also produced Shorty Bounce, performed by Lil Wayne, pursuant to the agreement on the Longest Yard soundtrack. That was released in 2005 and peaked at number 11 on the Billboard Top 200 chart. I never knew Shorty Bounce was that popular of a song. I do remember that song, though. Harrison timely performed pursuant to the CMR producer agreement and produced the 7 masters identified above for Cash Money. Pursuant to paragraph 6 of the agreement, CMR was obligated to pay him royalties on the masters produced pursuant to the agreement. Plaintiffs were due a 3% producer royalty rate. Okay, so when he first came to the squaw, he say, man, produce on this album here, we're gonna give you 3 points, 3% producer royalty rate. And again, I believe that's on the overall album. Pursuant to paragraphs 8 of the CMR producer agreement, CMR agreed to provide Harrison with no less than semi-annual accounting statement reflecting all royalties accrued under the terms of the CMR producer agreement during the subject accounting period, accompanied by payment of all sums thereby shown to be due and owing to Harrison. Now, what I find very interesting is there's no mention of his publishing percentage. He's only talking about producer points. He got 4% on Carter 3, and he had 3 points on Fast Money by Birdman. But none of this talks about publishing. Possibly because Birdman is also notoriously known for consuming people's publishing. We shall continue. CMR has not accounted to Harrison pursuant to the CMR producer agreement. CMR has not sent plaintiffs a statement in over 10 years. UMG administers the payments to producers, artists, and songwriters related to the masters at issue for CMR. UMG began administrating for CMR in approximately 2011. Okay? UMG administers the payments to producers, artists, and songwriters relating to the masters at issue for CMR. Consequently, UMG has simply taken advantage of Harrison's hard work and skill as a producer and exploited the CMR masters to its own great financial gain while completely and intentionally ignoring the contractual obligations pursuant to the CMR producer agreement. Fast Money has sold over 1.5 million copies worldwide. So even the wackest of the whack, as in Birdman, was able to go platinum. All the songs and album continue to sell today, and the violations of the rights of the plaintiff continue. Total revenue exceeds $15 million associated with the CMR masters. So even Birdman motherfucking ass was able to produce a $15 million revenue off that whack ass album. Additional songs produced by Harrison have been monetized and appears on Carter 2 Part 2, DJ Khaled Mixtape, released 2007 without the permission of Harrison. Oh shit, now we getting into some mixtape shit that he produced. Say, hey man, this nigga just, y'all remember, 2006, 2007, leading up to the Carter 3, Lil Wayne was dropping mixtapes like motherfucking fries in grease. That nigga just kept dropping mixtapes. This nigga had a Carter 2, Carter 3, Carter 3.5, Carter 2.5. Nigga had all this shit, not to mention all the other official shit. And these niggas, these producers were not being paid for none of that work. And he had quite a bit of original music that was being released along with freestyles and shit like that, right? As a That's around the time I actually was converted to becoming a Wayne fan. These actions have damaged Harrison. These misappropriations and others of Harrison's production and copyrights by the defendant appear at Lil Wayne, Love This Fucking Guy. Lil Wayne, Private Dancer. So these are mixtape records. Lil Wayne, High. Drake, I'll Take Your Girl. Damn, Drizzy. Lil Wayne, Eat You Alive. Lil Wayne, Best Thing Yet. Lil Wayne, California Love. This nigga leaked out all your shit, nigga. Lil Wayne, Don't Give a Fuck. Lil Wayne, Gangsters Don't Die. Lil Wayne, Long Time Coming. Lil Wayne, Around the Way Girl. Lil Wayne, Fuck a Nigga Thoughts. Lil Wayne, Front Door. Lil Wayne, Real As They Come. Lil Wayne, Body on the Shotty. Lil Wayne, Me and My Drink. Lil Wayne, M.O.B. Lil Wayne, I Love You featuring Keisha Cole. Lil Wayne, Real Shit. Birdman featuring Six Shot TC and Hot Bezo Nines. Choppers Pumps. God damn, they put out a lot of shit on your shit for nothing. Plaintiffs are the owners of the musical compositions and created the track in all above identified songs. Many of the track's music identified this paragraph were provided to Carter, YME, and Cash Money pursuant to the contract between YME and plaintiffs for possible inclusion on the Carter 3. Okay, possible inclusion. But these songs ended up being included on free mixtapes. Okay, Carter, YME, and CMR authorized the use of Carter's vocals on the songs identified above without the consent of the plaintiff. UMG continues to monetize the songs identified above. He said these songs is even for sale. In 2011, plaintiffs filed litigation against Young Money and Cash Money, Harrison v. Carter, civil action number 11 in the Southern District of New York. The case settled in 2012. Okay, so he got something back in 2012. We don't know what, but there was some sort of payout from Lil Wayne. All right, now in 2012, UMG began sending royalty statements to the plaintiff hold on. So after the case settled, Lil Wayne gave him a payment or something, and perhaps they, forwarded some information over to UMG to make sure he was supposed to be paid for the future. They say UMG began sending royalty statements to plaintiff in approximately 2012. See Exhibit 1. We'll get there. They say almost immediately UMG ceased sending royalty statements to plaintiff. Okay. In approximately 2020, UMG purchased the recordings at issue from Young Money and Carter for $100 million. Y'all remember, Lil Wayne sold entire Young Money catalog. It's crazy how this stuff comes back around. All these songs that he produced were included in a $100 million deal in which he got nothing. Okay, UMG administers the payments to producers, artists, and songwriters relating to the masters at issue and has failed to pay plaintiffs. Plaintiffs have not been paid any producer royalties associated with the YME producer agreement or CMR producer agreement for over a decade. The recordings at issue are fully recouped, and over $3 million is owed to plaintiffs. Now, I would think you would be owed more than $3 million. But of course, it had to go through the recoupment phase, which who knows what the total in recoupment was for the album budgets. But it says over $3 million, so hopefully there's some more M's on that. Under New York law, one who seeks to recover as a third-party beneficiary of a contract must establish 1, that a valid and binding contract exists between other parties, 2, that the contract was intended for his benefit, and 3, that the benefit was direct rather than incidental. Okay? A plaintiff is an intended contractual beneficiary if one's right to performance is appropriate to effectuate the intention of the parties to the contract, and either the performance will satisfy a money debt obligation of the promise to the beneficiary, or the circumstances indicate that the promise intends to give the beneficiary the benefit of the promised performance. Plaintiffs are beneficiaries of the contracts between UMG, Young Money, Cash Money, and must be paid pursuant to the terms of the producer agreements. In addition to royalties from sales, plaintiffs are due monies from the advertising income from YouTube, Vivo, and other websites for the exploitation of the recordings and social media platforms for the YME producer agreement and CMR producer agreement. Because these music videos and these uploads do produce money. So here's his first claim for relief. Plaintiffs repeat and reallege each and every prior allegation. By reason of the foregoing, UMG has materially breached the YMG producer agreement. Plaintiffs have satisfactorily performed all of its obligations to Young Money. As a direct and proximate result of UMG's breaches of the Young Money producer agreement, plaintiffs have been damaged in an amount to be determined at trial, but in no event less than $3 million. So that's the minimum that they seek. Second claim for relief, plaintiffs repeat and reallege each and every prior allegation by reason of the foregoing. This is this is breach of contract, cash money. I think the first one is breach of contract for Young Money. Yep. Same shit, right? Third claim for relief, conversion relating to the CMR producer agreement and the YME producer agreement, right? So at some point, let's just read it. To establish a cause of action and conversion, the plaintiff must show legal ownership or an immediate superior right of possession to specific identifiable personal property. And two, the defendant exercised an unauthorized dominion over the property in question to the exclusive plaintiff's rights. UMG has taken, converted, and utilized monies. Okay, exactly what I was thinking. They turned the financial responsibility over to UMG. UMG has taken, converted, and utilized monies due plaintiffs for its own benefit. UMG has funded its operations, paid artists, paid employees with monies due and payable to plaintiffs in relation to the Fast Money, the Carter II, the Carter III albums, and other releases that contain the work of the plaintiffs. UMG is aware of its use of monies due and payable to plaintiffs and refused to y'all got some errors in here. And refused to pay plaintiff. UMG had a duty to pay plaintiff and have failed to do so. Monies due plaintiff have been converted for UMG's use. Plaintiff has a superior right to the funds that UMG unlawfully exercised dominion and control over to the detriment of the plaintiff. As a direct and proximate result of their actions, Harrison has been damaged in an amount to be determined at trial, but in no event less than $3 million. Wherefore, plaintiffs demand a jury trial and judgment as follows. Okay. On the first claim for relief, an award damages to plaintiff in an amount to be determined at trial, but no less than $3 million plus prejudgment interest thereon. On the second claim for relief, an award of damages to plaintiff in an amount to be determined at trial, but not less than $3 million. An award to plaintiff for the costs and disbursements incurred in this action and legal fees and such and other and further relief as the court deems just and proper. Okay. So now we get into the exhibits here, which these look like accounting reports that I gotta twist and turn my motherfucking head to look at. Hold on, y'all. Let me see if I can flip this page. What the All right, I was successfully able to flip this page so we can at least get a little bit of understanding of what we're looking at here. So this is financial reports from UMG. This is from 8/12, all right, as in 2012. So this is the accounting report that he received, and at some point he stopped receiving them almost immediately. This artist statement, back royalty calculation, cash money records. Okay. So military sales, retail sales, etc. Carter 3. I'm not going to try to break this down into like minutia or anything, but just giving an overview of what we're dealing with here. Retail sales, Target, Carter 3, the single Whip It or the Target exclusive Whip It. So they're just giving a breakdown of where the money is coming from during this this period, right? And as you can see, this money is adding up if you can't tell. So you got $694 here, which really ain't all that crazy, but that's how this industry works. You got 2,400 here. You got 289 here. You got 3,500 here. You got 83,000 total for domestic sales. So $83,000. You got Let the Beat Build, which he produced. This brought in $393. You got Lollipop, brought in $728. And these are all, look, as you can see, ringbacks, different shit. These are like smaller payments. These aren't album sales. Brought in $7,000. Because remember, ringtones used to be cheap. Prostitute 2. So I guess Prostitute 2 must be Prostitute Flame remix, part 2 or something. You got 8,000 here. All right. And these are just off a semi-annual report. So this shit adds up. Again, I'm not going to like try to break this shit down crazy, but you saw there was an excess of 80 something thousand that was reported there. We'll continue. Shit, it wasn't nothing to continue. The rest of them 30 pages or so was all of the accounting information just off of that one report, which I believe he's stating was the only report that he received. Okay. And for the last, 12, 13 years, he hasn't received another one. So we'll see how that goes. He wants an excess of $3 million, nothing less. I would imagine he's going to be spending a lot of money going back and forth with UMG, because UMG, outside of the scope of the Drake thing, right? And this is why the Drake thing irritates me so much. Because outside of the Drake thing, UMG definitely be fucking niggas, right? Like, Limp Bizkit is fighting UMG right now. There's a lot of people fighting UMG right now. I believe Iggy Azalea is fighting UMG. There's a lot of people that are owed money. There's a lot of people who have been done wrong. There's a lot of people who've been overlooked, underpaid, and are still trying to figure out how to get their just due for things they contributed to and have been, for the most part, left by the wayside in this motherfucking industry at the hands of UMG because they control so much of the music in this industry. But then you get this panty anty ass nigga coming out here talking about defamation, right? I want defamation, right? And defamation is a real thing. But you're coming out and you got fans that are coming out here acting like UMG really owes this nigga money, but nowhere in his complaint did he say, y'all have withheld my money. Y'all have withheld my royalties. The reason why his money was sitting in escrow, which means it was being collected and it was being held and reserved until they could figure out what the problem was or where it needed to go properly, was because he entered in a bad record deal when he was at a young age. Right? Not with UMG, but with Aspire Music Group, who then went to Cash Money, which then was funneled into Young Money, and they started not paying Aspire. They tried to cut them niggas out the deal and move forward with Drake. Thanks for bringing us a star. Get your ass out of here, right? So then Aspire, which is Jazz Prince, J Prince Jr., he fought back and had to go through multiple lawsuits in order to get that shit worked out. So then, as they were going through litigation, the money just sat in reserves. That's one thing. But these people Their money ain't in no reserves. Their money is paid out. Probably went straight to Birdman. Remember, he was bragging about all the multiple hundreds of millions that Cash Money has made over the years. Most of that money went to Birdman and his brother Slim. Slim is the silent partner, right? Birdman is the loudmouth, the one who talks and boasts about everything. And he's like, bruh, y'all stop sending me the royalty statements in 2012. Y'all took over the financial responsibility because clearly Birdman and Wayne and all of them were not good at running the reports. So they say, UMG, y'all handle this stuff now. UMG took control over it, and then they just stopped reporting to him. That's a big difference between a nigga that wants to renegotiate his deal, just came off of an alleged $400+ million contract, bragged about it in front of everybody's face across the industry, and then says, man, y'all not treating me right. Y'all not trying to give me the money I want. Not the money I'm owed, not the money that I deserve, but what I want. Therefore, I'm going to sue for defamation so that I could get what I'm asking for. That's why I have a problem with Homeboy. Homeboy partakes in rap battles, multiple rap battles, but then he loses one, the biggest one that he could have ever signed up for, and says, defamation. This is ruining my reputation. I bet it is ruining your reputation. You took a fat L in front of the world that you thought you was going to win. I still don't understand how you thought you was going to win. Get no respect over here. But let me know what y'all think of this down below in the comments. This is only the beginning with this Deezle thing. Again, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a long fight for him, because these motherfuckers don't play fair. You're going to have a decent little budget to even continue to fight this thing and keep your lawyers on retainer and, you know, make sure that they're taken care of as well. But I wish him the best, because he produced Lil Wayne's biggest hit. Let me remind y'all, he produced Lollipop. He produced Mrs. Officer, which is another big record off of the Carter 3. Still gets played to this day on certain radio stations. It still gets run. Some people really love that record. Still to this day. Yeah, Bobby Valentino still performing that bitch without Wayne. So he's definitely owed a lot of fucking money. I still think $3 million is even too low, especially if he was due 4% royalty rate off of that album in general, 3% off the Birdman album in general. And they showed you Birdman made $15 million off his in terms of for the label, not what went to him. Wayne Carter 3 generated $90 million in revenue for the label. 90. Some crazy shit there. Let me know what y'all think once again down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, become an insider. We will keep track of this, and hopefully Deezle gets his just due, man. I'll catch y'all later though. Peace.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rag. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef on computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. With drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I've been dropping these haters like calories. First I'm out, I came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble.